Go ahead, Prasadji.
Let me know once.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. So namaste everyone. So I pick up the concept for squaring from the Anadi Foundation Prime series. So the YouTube link for that one is over here, which again uh, Chaitanya ji has explained it very well. So I'll try to explain it what based on my understanding. So total we have basically when we are talking about arithmetic operations, typically we know additional, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But in our ancient India, we have 8 fundamental operations. Pradhamika Ashtakam. So the Parikrama
Fantastic.
Ashtakam. Parikrama means is arithmetic, the meaning in the Sanskrit, and
Very
Ashtakam means a group of 8. Um,
sorry to add to it. Fantastic work, Ji. Thank you for bringing this to notice to all. Pari Karma Ashtakam it is called. Karma Ashtakam. Parikarma or Parikarma means arithmetics. So I think this is not Parikrama, no, is not the word. Parikarma is the word.
okay, Parikarma. Did I write it correctly, Ji?
In the previous the line, it is correct. Parikarma.
Okay,
Here,
okay, yeah. I'll correct that one. Yes.
yes. But good that you have noticed this. See, very good. So Parikarma Ashtakam.
No, no, that one is correct, Ji. Prasadji. That one
Okay.
is correct. The next line,
Yeah.
Karma. Yeah. Yeah, remove the A after the R. There.
Okay. So the word karma means like an arithmetic, and Ashtaka means group of 8, where it has Sankalanam, addition, Vyakalanam, subtraction, Gunanam, where it talks about multiplication, Chedanam, division, Varga, squaring, Vargamula, square root, uh, uh, Gana, it's finding out the cube, and Ganamula, finding out the cube roots. So these are all the 8 ways of arithmetic operations. We have it in ancient India, and this is the one of the words from Aryabhatta to find it out the squaring. I will try to. My Sanskritam is not good, but vargaha samachitrushtaha phalam cha sadrishya vyasa samavargaha. Uh, um, so the meaning for this one is, so if in a square, the area of the square is equal, square is an object with 4 squares, we have a square, all the sides of the square are equal, and whatever we multiply that, we'll get the same quantity. So square is an object whose four sides are equal as its area, as well as the multiplication of the two same quantities. So this is one of the words, and there is one more. This is a way of finding out the squaring technique. So if we have the a plus b whole square, then we have to take the a square, then whatever the next b, we'll be multiplying with 2 ab, and then whatever it is left is b square. When we go to the 3-digit number, we will be doing it a square plus 2a and b plus 2a and c. Then we will come to the b square plus 2bc, which is leftover numbers, and at the end we'll have the c square. The same way, to find it out the 4-digit number, how we'll do is like a square plus 2a and b plus 2a and c plus 2a and d. Then we'll go to the b square plus 2b plus c b and c to 2bc, then 2bd plus c square plus c and d 2 into cd plus d square. So this is how we can find it out the squaring techniques easily. So this is one of the easy example where we can find it out, how to find it out 357 square. So first of all, we can draw a 6x7 table, and then we can write it down 357, like whatever the square root we want to find it out. So we'll write the 357 based on the previous formula which we are applying it, right? So we can apply the same concept over here. There is a sliding method is there. That's the only we have to remember it. So let's find it out. Like so 357 we write it down. Imagine like we don't have any of these numbers. So 3 into 3 square, like so we'll be writing 9 in the third column. So this is the 3 column which is colored in green color. 5 place is like is in amber, and 7 is in light blue. So 3 square, like we write it in the in this position, 3 into 3. Then 3 3 into 5 into 2 into 2ab, right? 2a and b, like 2 into 3 into 5. That will comes to 30. We will write it down to 30 over here. Then we will slide next, and then we'll write 2 into 3 into 7. That we will write it down into 4-2. So that's what we'll be sliding it out. Then we have the 5 square. We'll directly write it to the we'll starting from the 5th position. So 25 we will write it down. 5 into 5 we'll write it down over here. Then 5 2 into 5 into 7. 70 we'll write it down over here. Then last we will end up is 7. So in the c square, like so we'll write it down the 49 over here. So and then remove all these 3 numbers, like so you don't need any of these, and then adding of all these numbers will give the square root of your sum of all the numbers, which is 9, 4, 7 plus 5 plus 12, 14, like we'll carry forward, and then 7, then 12 we'll write it down, and that will give the square root of this number. So applying this technique to any number, we can do the squaring. Dhanyawad. Sorry if I have some if I didn't pronounce it correctly with the Sanskritam sloka.
No, that is okay, Ji. Thank you very much, Prasad Ji. Yeah, thanks for taking the effort going through the material and creating the slides. Yeah, very good.
Much appreciated, Prasad Ji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other comments, Gurupriya Chaitanya Ji?
I didn't have any other corrections per se.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
So
great.
slowly we can actually this even mentally doing it sort of helps. A lot
Yeah,
of practice working with our children helps us
Yep.
quite a bit.
yeah,
Thank you, Prasad.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's go to, so it is 7:20. Vasundharaji will come back to your group. I think DCG will be ready right now from group 2.
Yes,
So I think,
sure.
yeah. DCG, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. You want to go ahead, Ji?
Yes. 1 second. Putting the screens up.
Not yet. Yeah, it's coming up. Yep, we can see your screen.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Dhananjay Gunia. With me is Mahesh Ogle. We both are presenting the Ganita. Our focus is mostly on the roots of our knowledge today. So, start off with a quick intro about for the team, myself and Mahesh Ogle. Maheshji, do you want to quickly intro yourself?
Yeah, my name is Mahesh Ogle, and I will be covering the Chanda Shastra that I found very interesting.
Awesome. I'm going to mostly focus on the magic squares, the things that I actually learned through the session. And then we'll talk about the uniqueness of Vedic Ganita, and then the focus areas that we actually learn more about in our Swadhyay. And then we'll talk about the modern uses and applications, and then the personal learning points and the impact that had in our learning experience through these classes we have had so far. The reason why we had actually had Shiva and Buddhagana is that also impressed me big time in terms of like how far we have come along, and the root of our knowledge starts with Shiva himself, providing that to the knowledge to us, right? And then we also have the what the Guru Lagu, and then also the squares here. Just start off with. Moving to the next slide, the uniqueness. Maheshji is going to talk about this. Maheshji, take it on, please.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's I found it really interesting. Acharya ji really covered it well, like various techniques and squares and cube roots and all that, right? So even I learned it as a kid, way a while ago, right? So what I found really unique for Vedic Ganita is it's faster, right? You can do mental calculations, much fewer steps, really efficient, right? You don't need um, uh, like big calculation, right, on paper, how many kids do today, right? And then it is it gives you intuition, like as you learn these techniques, like you are able to think logically, like, oh yeah, this is how it's gonna work, right? You and at the same time it's not boring. Yeah, kids actually enjoy it. My daughter, she enjoys it quite a bit, and she gets amazed, like looking at, like, oh, like this is great, like quickly finding out things, right? So I like that, because for kids, enjoying math is important, because otherwise they don't like it at all, right? And then, yeah, number 4 bullet here, like there are practical applications in daily life. It is applicable in business, competitive exams. It has a lot of use there, because you have to solve it really fast, right, in the considering the time and the number of questions. So and most importantly, it's part of the Indian heritage, and then it promotes the traditional knowledge that we have as part of our history. So
Dhanyawad, Ji. Talking about the last bullet point, I'll talk a little bit about that. So it's promoting traditional knowledge, which is what we're doing right now. It's not just the preservation and the longevity of what we have had so far is one thing, but promoting is another thing with IKS that we are going through. So we're experiencing that ourselves.
for sure.
I'll go to the next focus area here, talking about the Bhadra Ganita, the magic squares. The concept of this actually started with me just looking at the first word itself, breaking down Bhadra Ganita. Bhadra or Bhadram is something I've been hearing so often these days, and I was trying to understand the connectivity between all the mantras and everything else that's going on. It started out with Bhadram Karane. There's a verse that we hear, so that actually impressed me. I'm like, okay, what's this Bhadram thing, right? So, and then it says that it's auspiciousness, and it also is connected to the magic squares. I'm like, Bhadra Ganita, like everything's connected, right? So, so part of what we actually talked about, me and Maheshi, is that we'll go back in time. Like we are obviously working backwards in time, and then trying to bring back to our modern life, see how we can apply things, and then push it forward to our kids and beyond, right? So, Brahad Samhita wrote wrote by Varaha Mihira, 6th century CE. So we're going back to 6th century, and then the verses, that actually says about the preparation of the perfumes using the magic squares. That's like mind blowing already, because it's just going to 6th century CE, right? And that we cannot even comprehend the amount of time we have to travel through to get to a point of like understanding those concepts in 2025, right? The consistent sum obtaining the whole magic square, the process itself was just crazy, and getting to the Sarvato Bhadra is 18. That some logic that existed back then, it's just can't really understand the vastness of our knowledge systems. So yeah, we operating at 6th century. We learned some concepts, and then I'm going to go forward here. 3 magic squares provided by Narayana Pandita in Ganita Kaumudi. That's in 1356. So we went from 6th century CE to 1356 CE, concepts from there. So just that time span alone, 1300 some years after, there's a long span of time, right? And then we'll go back more in the next slides, but just the time span, it's just amazing that we are able to get to this amount of history just in a small group like us, learning these concepts, right? So what are the 3 magic squares? So Samagarbha, Vishama, and Vishamagarbha explained here. Magic squares whose order is multiple of 4, Samagarbha, and Vishamagarbha is magic squares whose order is an odd number, and then magic squares whose order is an even number that is not divisible by 4 is Vishamagarbha. So that's like the 3 that was very clear. And then in terms of like reading the verse from this, it was even more intriguing in terms of how much of uniqueness in terms of applying and hiding all the knowledges in verses, right? So these verses actually have the secrets of whole knowledge system, which is we are extremely fortunate to even learn this point of looking at a verse and then decoding all the stuff. It's just amazing. Moving forward, digging deeper into the 14 chapters written in Ganita Kaumudi, and we only talked about Bhadra Ganita, which is chapter 14, right? So 13 chapters. What was actually before this? Obviously, it's because of IK's teachings. We are able to at least summarize all this to this point, right? So 1 through 13 has so many different things. They're all basically calculated, and so much of information already in place. But the obvious thing, the 14 is where there's so much of information already, and that's what we've been learning, right? So there's still a whole bunch to learn, and we're just getting started. That's one thing I wanted to kind of wrap it in terms of like showing how many things that we still have to learn, and then how the applications were actually done way back. And the compilations of these 14 chapters alone is just mind blowing. And all these ones have been translated many times over in many ways that we learn in the school days, or we have learned through the schooling here, or in the US or anywhere else in the world. It doesn't justify the amount of historic content, like, and the amount of work that was done back then from our rishis, and getting to the point of us learning here. So moving to that, to the next slide, Chanda Shastra, I think, Mahesh ji is going to touch base on this one, and he's done a bit more research on this part. Mahesh ji,
Yeah.
take it, please.
Yeah. Thank you, DCG. So yeah, I work in computer science. So I found Chanda Shastra more relating to computer science, because there are many concepts here that are used in computer science. Again, may not be directly, but indirectly, because a lot of these things are foundation of computer science, and it's inspirational, and it's amazing to realize that like Pingalacharya did this as far back as like 300 BC. So we are going back in time quite a bit again. So yeah, Chanda Shastra is composed by Pingalacharya, and the word Chandas mean the science of meters. So on the first slide, you saw the Laghu Guru image, right? And how that concept is used in many places, right? It comes up in how we say shlokas. It comes up in the Sanskrit poetry. It comes up in computer science, like binary and all that, right? So there are 6 pratyayas which were introduced by Pingalacharya. So prastara, what I found interesting out of these 6 is prastara, nashta, and then uddishta. So I'll go one by one briefly. So prastara is basically how the patterns are laid out in a sequence. I think we have seen a bunch of examples in our lectures where, like, how the Laghu Guru, so if you are given, like, okay, give me sequence, give me the pattern for 2 numbers, then there is a specific way to write it. Then number 3, number 4, and it goes on, right, like that, right? And then Sankhya is second pratyaya, that is process of finding total number of patterns that will be generated based on the number given. That's what I understood. Nashta, this one I found very interesting, because you have all these patterns, but then given a number, so let's say number 3 generates like 8 patterns. So if I say, like, hey, give me 6th pattern, then that's what this nashta gives you, that you give row number and you get the pattern back, right? Uddishta is, I think, the other way, where you are given a pattern and then you are able to find row. So this is very interesting, because you can imagine, as the number of patterns growing, right, it goes like 8 and 16 and 64, and then I say, okay, give me 47th pattern, then it's not that intuitive anymore to find that pattern quickly. And what if I say, give me 367th pattern? Then you're lost completely. Like, it's gonna take forever if I just write down all the patterns, and just count from 1 to 367, right? But this technique gives you that pattern very quickly. And then, yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at next two, but there are, it's I think Lagha Kriya, I'm saying it right. So with the given number of laghus, you can find the how many forms has that, right? And then last one is how much space is occupied. I think it's Adva Yoga. That's what it says. So yeah, we can go to next slide. I think that one is more interesting. So it's really amazing, like all these concepts, they how they are used, right? So I'll go briefly here. So computer science, like how we are talking right now, like my audio is getting transferred. You are able to see me, right? So the foundation that Pingalacharya came up with, that foundation is in use, right, indirectly here. We all know AI, like how AI is spreading everywhere. We use it every day, right? In computer science, then all the networking, right? Music and art, so music composition. So we have seen some examples of Laghu Guru, like how shlokas, they make use of Laghu Guru, right? So all that. We have all learned chemistry, physics, biology, right? As in our earlier education years, right? So I found some uses there like circuit analysis. The if you mix two chemicals, then what all reactions can happen, right? DNA sequencing, it's in use there. Then sports and games. So I found that some opening moves in chess, they follow Fibonacci patterns, which is very interesting and amazing. Weather. So we all look at weather app every day. So what's going to happen 7 days from now, right? So weather prediction, hurricane patterns, there is use there. Healthcare. So again, we for various drugs, what are the interactions? Then what medications can go together, what cannot, right? So it's very important, right, for many patients. And then last bullet is many more, because as I was researching, I realized that it's like there is no way I can put it in a slide. It's just impossible. So that's why we wrote here like to infinity and beyond, because it was there 300 BCE, it is still here, and based on its usage, I think it's gonna just stay like when we are not here, right? So that's why we wrote that last bullet here. I think so. Go to next slide. Yeah, I think that covers my part.
Yeah. So I just want to touch the last point here is the to infinity and beyond has a very meaningful context, because obviously we all know where we recently know from, which is from Disney movies, right? To infinity and beyond. Guess where it came from? From our culture, like from Vedic roots, right? So I think we learned so much. Everything is going back to our basics of the roots of our vastness of our knowledge systems and how much we have learned. So basically, yeah, we started off 6th century and then we went to 1356, and then we came back to 300 BCE with what Maheshji was actually alluding to. So we just did a time travel. Now, personal learning points like Kattapayadi number system, what we learned through this was just another amazing thing of the system of the number system itself. And then Kachaputta and the mnemonic encoding that our rishis and munis and our scientists have actually provided, encoding within the verses everywhere else with the systematic approach and to decode everything else. That's the mnemonic, encoding their provider, right? And the Chanda Shastra that Maheshji actually said about, from Pingalacharya. just 3 was just enough for us to put a small starting point in our learning process. So that's what we wanted to kind of share with the team. So dhanyawada.
Dhanyawad.
Yeah, amazing work, Mahesh ji, DCG. Thanks for kind of picking two of the key topics and kind of highlighting it or reminding the rest of the group of the value of this whole thing. Gurupriya Chaitanya ji, do you have any feedback?
Much appreciation, Ji, to the team. Very professionally done, very well made, and your interest, and your passion for the topic showed through the slides. Very, very thankful for that. In fact, I think you've gone over and beyond the videos in themselves of the ones that I've referred. For example, the contents of the Ganita Kaumudi, I'm sure you've picked it up from some other place, and probably the paper that they've published, or I don't know from where. Very, very interesting to see that, or maybe in the advanced learning course. I'm quite happy, Ji, to see that. Mahesh ji, very pertinent observations in terms of where in computing this is applicable and why it appeals to a lot of people. I loved the final slide also, personal learning and what amazed you, what topics probably. So many miles to go, and here we are. And I think it's already very eye-opening to see the kind of knowledge traditions we have had. Very advanced thinking. And when you look at Pingala, we're talking about 300 BCE to come up with some among these things. Phenomenal. We belong to a tradition, and it might be Donald Knuth in his Art of Programming has cited some among these. It's very important that we popularize some among these things. Otherwise, we do not know that the core Western thinkers have woken up to this. However, we've got to make this very publicly accessible to.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I have a question to Gurupriya Chaitanya ji. So, how pertinent is it to continue calling this as Vedic math rather than Bharatiya Ganita or some other this thing? Is it suitable to do that, or is it it's okay to keep calling it Vedic math?
So what has happened, as I think in one among the sessions I might have touched upon this. I don't know if I did. So the very phrase called Vedic maths became popular because of Puri Shankaracharya, 1960s. The Bharti Krishna Swamiji from Atharva Veda, he brought out some verses. He has in fact Purvashrama lectured in Oxford. He has lectured in so many places. And the Puri Mutt, I don't know how well aligned they are right now, but earlier the Puri Mutt was completely Atharva Veda based. And even now, the Shankaracharyas there have a rigorous mathematical training there. So he brought out a few sutras, 16 main sutras and 16 upasutras from the Shakha, from the Swashakha of that particular Shankaracharya. And when he published, he didn't actually, in fact, end up publishing it. He felt all of mathematics, in one way or the other, can be interpreted out of these sutras. These are very abstract terms, right? Antyayoho eva, of the terms in the end only. What would it mean? Ekadikena purvena, one more than the previous. It's a very simple phrase, but where is it applied? Very contextually differs, right? One more than the previous could mean 100 things, even in computer science. It can mean recursion, it can mean. So they were like versatile sutras, but he used to believe that they are philosophical sutras, and you've got to understand where they are, how they are applied, and so on. That's a particular school of thought. However, he was writing a book about it, and he thought up to higher order math, everything should be covered by interpreting these 16 sutras and 16 upasutras. However, in 1960, Swamiji had passed. Following that, some among his enthusiastic Sishyas put together all the drafts that Swamiji had written. So we cannot call this book really published by Swamiji himself. However, posthumously, people published this book and then they called it the Vedic Maths by Swami Bharti Krishna Tirthaji. And once that got published, See, this book is still not easy to read. If you archive.org, everything has this book, right? It has this book on Vedic maths. This book is, slightly obscure, and you've got to like really interpret many things that are there, and you've got to there a good amount of people, who found some interesting techniques in many of these. I believe even, to the extent of, you have certain speed math techniques in the West, right? I don't know if you have heard of these Trachtenberg speed math book and so on. So if you look at Trachtenberg, you can like even like map everything to Swamiji's works.
Mhm.
This entire Trachtenberg system. So these kinds of method, right? So this became quite popular. And anyway, so this Trachtenberg's techniques, all these work because of the sound arithmetic system that we have created, without which it's impossible to do many of these arithmetics. These techniques, the very nature, the design of this arithmetic number system enables us to do this. So, however, over time, the word called Vedic mathematics started gaining popularity and started to talk of a few speed math techniques alone. Whereas the word in itself is very sacred, the very phrase cannot only be attributed to arithmetics. As I was saying, all of Vedic math starts from geometry. If you look at the actual Vedic text, it's a very different, but you also see all of math at advanced by that point in time. So what we took a call in Anadi Foundation over time, having discussed with various scholars and doing many of these things, and we felt that Bharatiya Ganita could be a more inclusive term for the entire parampara in the Vedic era, post-Vedic era, what has all happened. So if we have through this entire last, at least 4 millennia, right, and we've got to encompass this, and so we started calling this the Bharatiya Ganita as the subject domain.
Okay.
So slowly it has been gaining traction, calling this as Bharatiya Ganita, and at least in the translation of it as Indian mathematics has been a domain of study. Earlier it was clearly called Hindu mathematics. By all Indologists call this Hindu mathematics, Jaina mathematics, Bauddha mathematics. It was very well known as Hindu mathematics for some time, because the Indologists, all the Indologists had simply coined it that way. Then to make Jaina mathematics, Buddhism mathematics to be more included into Hindu mathematics, all these Eastern traditions were, first, slowly by scholars in the 1970s, 80s, and post the lot of secular push, and everyone started calling them Indian mathematics, encompassing all these domains actually. So we felt Bharatiya Ganita to be also appreciable of the spirit of all the integrating all the Eastern traditions, because these are thought forms that belong here. Because the word the Indian in itself, in Indian knowledge systems and so on, is a certain colonial overarching strong stroke to it. So we thought, let us call this very clearly as Bharatiya Ganita. If very happily, if Kumon math can be there, if Russian math can be there, thanks to all the traditions that have been building up, the new age traditions and tradition of the last 5-6 years might be, I don't know. So when these things started building up, then it was very clear that we've got to start branding and understanding Indian mathematics, making it consumable for children, making it at least the low-hanging fruits immediately evident. Because if you go into the deep dive, scholarly text, then it will seem inaccessible, right? So there we thought that yes, drawing a feather from the cap of the Western presentation of many of this and so on, we thought Bharatiya Ganita might best represent the knowledge tradition. Our Vedic Ganita is in spirit Vedic Ganita, so nothing wrong about it. But now what has happened, because of the strong branding that Vedic maths has got, it has come to mean these techniques that come out of these 16 sutras and 16 Upasutras.
Understand.
I have, I have one point to make here. I had the same question, whether one of the slides call it Vedic Ganita or not. then I thought like, okay, everything goes back to the Ashtadasha Vidyasthana. Okay, so what are we missing here? Everything's part of Vedas and Vedangas. Everything is the same. So we come from the same roots. So from the first class on forward, I've been thinking the same. So I'm trying to, memorize the shlokas as well from there. So I'm like, everything is the same. So we should call us Ashtadasha Ganita maybe, because everything is encompassed within the everything, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Completely appreciate the spirit of calling it Vedic Ganita. What has happened is there is a sort of consensus and a norm that gets, sort of developed over time as well. And there, what happens, for example, a very nice plastering technique is called Vedic plastering technique. If you didn't know, so there is like a wall plastering technique. Okay. And so if that has come to like become branded as the Vedic plastering technique in itself.
Oh, okay.
We do not know where in the Vedas they are exactly, however. But now what has happened, the connotation is clear. When I say Vedic plastering, there is 70% cow dung, 20% mud in it, probably 5% cow urine in it, little lime in it, and so that's Vedic plastering. As now everyone has come to a consensus. Now nobody is going to dig into Rig Veda and debate. This works, this plastering works, right? And we have called it Vedic plastering as a consensus. So I feel some among these understanding of speed math as Vedic math has become a consensus, sadly, and that's why we are not able to very freely borrow that term. It has come to be limited in a certain way. What has happened is also in the historic perspective, a Vedic era is a particular era. And beyond that, many things have happened. How Indian scholars classify it as Vedanta era, Vedic era, Siddhanta era, and post-Siddhanta era. That's how they look at it. Western Indologists call them ancient era. They call it classical and medieval in the Indian Indologists whenever they have studied these periods broadly. So then what happens when these Indologists have already named a particular period as Vedic Ganita, then it starts referring to that period from which these texts have come. So to encompass a wider period, we try to use Bhartik.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. That clarification was needed, because sometimes we, especially while we are situated in Western countries, we have to be very aware of what each of these terms mean, historical or chronological and things like that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should try to get a real name from the KSI, incubate the whole thing, and come up with a concept.
Yeah.
And then have multiple ways of doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, actually, we've been internally discussing the terminologies. They have profound impact on the messaging. So there's a lot of internal discussion about a lot of these things. So that's why I was curious about the
very important, very, very important. See, the kind of misappropriation that has happened to yoga is a big lesson for us. We should wake up to it, and we must sort of now operate in a new paradigm. Which, having learned from this, how do we move forward?
Right. Yeah.
And I think again, many thanks to DCG and Maheshji. Very well made presentation.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I think we can go to group 9 right now. Vasundhara ji.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so it's again on magic square itself, which we have already seen. Yeah. Oops. Just give me 1 second.
No problem. We could briefly see your screen, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, the sharing works. Yeah.
Yeah, but I am not able to.
I mean, we can see your screen now.
Yeah, but how do I?
So, I mean, there's a slideshow button at the top, right? You can go there.
It is not.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, got it.
There it is. Yep. And now you can just use the arrow keys on your keyboard to.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Radhika ji.
Namaste ji. Today we are going to discuss about magic square. This is already just now this is explained. Once again we are going to share our views. This term magic square is the earliest occurrence of this magic square in India is from Kakshaputa, from by Nagarjuna, philosopher and mathematician Nagarjuna from 1st century CE. The word Kakshaputa denotes the square patterns that the shell of the it is the shell of the tortoise. In Khajuraho has Jain inscriptions with 4x4 magic square from 11th century CE. Means this magic square is introduced in 1st century and carries to 11th century, and still we are learning. And the great mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan, he created so many magic squares, so many, a lot. He done so many magic squares. Some of the examples is with his birth date. We usually write a birth date like date of birth, month, D, M, Y, means year. See, if you see the first row of this magic square, 22, the 22 denotes the date of birth of this Srinivasa Ramanujan, and 12 denotes the month, December, and 18, year 1887. The first row of this magic square denotes the date of birth of the mathematician Srinivasa Ramanujan. This is the 4x4 magic square. If we add all the numbers of this first row of the magic square, 22 plus 12 plus 18 plus 87, we get the sum 139. In the same way, the first row, the sum of the second row, and the sum of this third row, fourth row, if we check like this, the sum is 139. Means the consistent sum that is obtained from the magic square is known as the magic sum. Here the magic sum is 139. If you check any column or any row, any diagonal also, it is 139. This is called the magic sum. Next slide. These magic squares, there are so many types. One of semi-magic square. In this semi-magic square, if the rows and columns are added to get the magic square, then it is called semi-magic. Means in semi-magic square, only the sum of the rows and the columns are same. Remaining are different. And the magic square, in the magic square, the sum of the rows, columns, and the principal diagonals also same. That is called, this is to get the magic sum, the rows, columns, and principal diagonals are added. This is called the magic square. And another type is pan-diagonal magic square. In this pan-diagonal magic square, the rows, the sum of the rows and the columns and the principal diagonals and broken diagonals also same. This is called the pan-diagonal magic square. Vasundhara ji, you can carry on.
Yeah, so already the previous group has described in great detail about all the uses and all. So what what stuck to me was with the cultural and historical significance. So from Bharat, if you're from down south, like Karnataka side, so they do something called as Nagamandala. So in that, for that, they actually prepare a huge grid with different kinds of colors in that. So if you can get a chance to see a picture of it, so it has all different colors and different squares, which some people believe it is attributed to magic square. So they decide the color, they color code the grid based on some numbers. So, but I am not sure about it though. And as education part, when it comes, is obviously it helps to deal with numbers. So if there are kids like who really hate math or who fear math, so I think this is the best way to keep them engaged. Then we already have seen about this AI logic game, so this appears more often. And one thing which I was very much interested was how it is used in art. So there is a link if you oopsies, sorry. Yeah, so if you use this link, like you can see how he has used magic square in his art as well. So coming to the types, the group has already explained, so I will not go over this slide. And then during our lectures, we saw that we have different methods of construction of the magic square, right? So this was very much interesting for me, like how you use horse moves, but I didn't get it to the end because it was very tough for me. So we will try it again. So everything we have seen in class. So, and one more thing. So as we were doing this, I was very much interested in how the number moves, right? So it's sometimes in this square, then it jumps here, then it jumps here. So I just kind of like tracked the numbers as to how it moves. And this is the diagram which I get. So when you see this diagram, if you can cut it here, it's almost like symmetrical.
Yes, Ji, you are.
Yeah, so this is the thing which I noticed. So I did couple of other magic squares using different numbers, and each time I get a different, kind of these geometrical shapes. So I don't know, I'm not sure like what significance or what it holds behind these. But as I searched, I could find like these two articles from the net. So but this paper particularly says how it is applied in art, like in digital design or like to create different geometric shapes and all. And this the second one which we can see here, that talks a lot about musical application, like how you can form a symphony, how the chords can be cut or a semi-chords. Like if you're into music, it's very good article if you can go through. All these two applies, like uses these magic squares in different forms. So yes, that's all we have for now.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you very much for the presentation. That was
Thank
fantastic. Appreciate all the time, effort people do put into go reviewing the material and creating slides and sharing with the class. Requires a completely different mindset and energy to do this. Chaitanya Ji, do you have anything?
The first thing I appreciated and I really want to congratulate the team is that all the slides are original in the sense you have tried to again recreate them. That's a lot of work, and especially with math slides, you've got to you minimized on the screenshot usage and you maximized. So that's a lot of effort, G. I highly appreciate that. Number one. And number two, I have very good tangential exploration. The scope of the class helped us only look into what magic squares, how are they being presented by some among our mathematicians. very many excellent modern applications, thought processes. As I said, number field, is just announced a $10,000 grand prize for anyone who can crack a particular magic square. So so these pick the interest of mathematicians from ancient times to current times. And a lot of I think there is a bounty website also to where there are many magic square challenges. If you can construct something like that, and then you can collect the bounty, and the more the time goes and nobody has attempted the challenge on that website, then the more the bounty price increases. So these are all some among the things that are happening. And as you have all rightly observed, Vasundharaji, the particular diagram, right, the geometrical diagram, the motion and the movement. So I met a couple of people who do take up this as the sadhana. So what happens is they take up a mantra, and then instead of doing likhita japa simply with the mantra, they do fill the magic squares. For example, I met one sadhaka in Prayagraj during a Kumbh Mela, where every day she took the time to finish 1008 magic squares. Simply, she would just be doing the magic squares and then be doing the mantra that she was initiated. So there are some traditions, okay, still in the northern tribes, there are some traditions who take up this as a sadhana. And when the hand moves like this and fills, she earlier was linearly filling it. And then I told her that, there is this way to fill it. And then I asked her to observe and then see what if there is any change that she is able to observe when she is able to do the mantra plus filling the magic squares. And there she was telling me that she could be much, much more aware. She was doing the sadhana for 48 days or so. And she said that instead of linear filling of the magic squares, I basically taught her how to fill it in order, the numbers. And then she was doing this. After a while, this, right? When you're doing 1008 of the same magic square, you're just writing it down along with a mantra. Every day you're chanting. And so when you start filling it like this, she said that the dharana of the mantra massively increased for her as time went, and then so on. Not only about the geometrical shape, but the way in which your neuroplasticity is while chanting a mantra and then finishing a magic square. So it was quite very interesting. I had also generated such diagrams. With every direction, the diagram slightly changes. And there are different artists who have done different renditions also of these magic squares, as you have all rightly pointed out. Very, very happy, wonderful presentation. Thank you, Vasundharaji and Radhika ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay.
Ji. Ji.
Please, please.
My daughter want to tell one sloka in this math. Can she share?
Definitely, ji. Definitely. Please, please.
लीलागललुलल्लोलकालव्यालविलासिने गणेशाय नमो नीलकमलामलकान्तये.
Wonderful, ma. Wonderful. Very, very happy.
Ji, we completed three series, level 3, myself and my daughter, Bharatiya Ganita. Daily she will practice 2 or 3 problems daily. Magic square is one of her favorite topic.
I'm very, very happy. You are the first person I'm meeting who has finished the level 3 book.
Yes.
Till now, I have not come across anyone who has finished level 3 book. Absolutely happy and delighted to listen.
I am math teacher. Present, I am homemaker. I'm so interested in math.
Where do you reside, ji?
In Austin, ji.
Austin, okay.
Daily we will practice 2 or 3 problems in Bharatiya Ganita. Now in science also we are in level 2.
Wonderful.
This is the daily activity for both of them.
Excellent, ji. The purpose of writing my books have gotten over. There is at least one person other than my ashramites who have read the level 3 book. Very, very, very happy, ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ji.
Thank you. Thank you, ji. Wonderful. Radhika ji, your daughter is also doing Bhagavad Gita memorization, right? Yeah.
Yes, ji. She is in Gita talent show also.
Very nice.
Yesterday she completed her talent show.
Yeah.
National level talent show.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is the age to kind of.
He can chant reverse 700 slokas.
Oh,
From 700 to 1 to 700.
nice, nice, nice. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
Amma, she said the shloka. What's her name?
Her name is Vedashri.
Vedashri. My hearty congratulations to Vedashri. Oh, thank you, Vedashri.
Yeah, wonderful, excellent. Okay. Anyone from group 10 here? Rohit, Akshay, Rishita Shri, or Reema Saini?
Namaste ji, I'm here, but I haven't prepared actually.
Oh, okay, okay. You didn't have a chance. Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem, no problem. Okay. I think, Mahodaya, I think with that we can, maybe say a few ending words for Bharatiya Ganita and then, reconvene next week for the next topic.
Yes. So those who have not gotten a chance to do today, definitely take the time out. I know it's a very busy life. Many things are holding us back, but it's we are a handful of few among the millions of Indians in the Indian diaspora there. We're trying to hold together the parampara. At least for me, I've taken a solemn vow that I'll make 10,000 children chant what Vedashi just chanted. Because if you don't remember Bhaskaracharya, at least one verse of Bhaskaracharya's works, right, it is very, very tough to keep up the knowledge tradition. I appreciate everyone, even Prasadji, for trying to chant the verse today. It's very, very important that we retain our source texts. Derivative works can happen all the time, but it's important that we start chanting as part of Bharatiya Ganita. I hope over time, those who have not been able to spend time this week in this short time, I hope you still stay committed to it. At some point in time, again reconvene and then do some presentations to each other, even offline or in smaller circles. I would urge you to do that, because every small effort that you make, the entire parampara knowledge is retained and it moves forward. Again, I bow down to all those, all the teams that have taken the effort, the special effort today to put in a lot of thought process and bring it out to, again, to the rasana of everyone here in this group. I know all here are highly motivated already. All are very committed to the cause already. The more the Swadhyaya time we spend, the greater the benefits that we'll have. It applies to all fields of knowledge other than just Bharatiya Ganita. I hope you all had a very good time exploring a few fundamental facets, something that can pick our interest and something that we can take to our children right away. Then the next thing unveils for us, which would be Nakshatra Vidya. I'm sure that will also be exceptionally fascinating, another field of study that will massively open our eyes to what knowledge traditions that we behold in our civilization. Thank you all. Namaste.
Namaste ji. Yeah, thank you everyone for participating today. Please come back, stay enthusiastic. We have a lot more interesting topics to continue in this journey, right? We promised, we have a year-long set of sessions and courses. There is Panchakosha Vidya, there is Yoga, there's Sanskritam, and a whole bunch of other humanities-related topics. So please stay with us. And we will publish the schedule for, after Nakshatra Vidya, how we are going to structure it, maybe after a short break for summer and so on. We will be publishing it shortly. So thank you again for all your enthusiasm. Keep attending the classes regularly. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you, Ji. We'll all meet next week. Bye.
Dhanyawad.
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 Dhanyawad.